Welcome to We Learn. This is session 8 of knowledge management. Today we are going to cover different topics like power of knowledge, role of knowledge management in knowledge base, process of knowledge, knowledge management, effective knowledge management we are going to cover, knowledge usage, levels of knowledge, knowledge capture, knowledge process, building blocks of knowledge management, and at last we will cover about the information system. In today's session, firstly we are going to explain that how if a company, if a process, if a person has the knowledge, then that knowledge ultimately become the power of that particular process, program, person or organization. But the power of knowledge is gained with the collective effort of the people who are working together to achieve a common goal. This requires a proper team structure, proper team organization, proper synchronization, good communication skills, and at last a time management. This ultimately gives rise to the power of knowledge. Means the knowledge becomes a kind of tool in the hands of the holder, whether it is the organization, person, program, process or whatever in which context we are talking about. Now let us talk about the role of knowledge management in creating the knowledge base. Knowledge management is basically focused on two important parameters. First one is knowledge can be with respect to the people, and another important context is technology. Yes, knowledge can be managed with respect to the technology also. So people based knowledge is called as a people oriented knowledge management system, and technology based is called as a technology oriented knowledge management system. Now let us discuss that how the translation to business and management concepts and terminology, they all gives rise to the people oriented knowledge management. And apart from this, use of supporting information and communication technologies, they give rise to the technology oriented knowledge management system. And whether it's a people oriented knowledge base or technology based knowledge base, they all are aligned towards the goal of the organization. So goal oriented design of handling knowledge or capabilities and competency, it is being derived from the consistent effort of the organizational learning, because organizational learning is basically achieved by the organizational knowledge base or memory base, and this could be done by motivating the people towards innovation. That can be done by innovation management, strategic management, sociology of knowledge, organizational psychology, organizational development, evaluation of organization, organization culture, organization intelligence, organization chaos, organization changes, system dynamics, system theory, and artificial intelligence. They all are the concept that basically motivates or drives the organizational learning, or they helps in developing the knowledge base of any organization by memorizing the things. And all these parameters are collectively responsible for the orientation, for the goal achievement of the organization, because these things give rise to the capabilities and competency in handling the situation. So a knowledge plays a very important role in developing the knowledge base of the organization, which in turn is directly related with that of the people or technology, which supports the knowledge base basically. When we talk about the process of knowledge, so process of knowledge can be explained in different parameters, because there is a proper exchange of information between explicit knowledge or between implicit knowledge, because implicit knowledge is basically held by the individual, by the institutions or by the groups, which is ultimately related with that of the process of socialization of the knowledge. So explicit knowledge can be defined with the help of information technology, knowledge bases, expert system, knowledge repositories, group discussion support systems, computer support cooperative work. They all are the things that comes under the explicit knowledge, and there is a direct exchange of information, because in IT is basically responsible for exchanging of the information, whether it's a email, it's a fax, or it's a like another IT tools. We can have different database software with us, which will act as a knowledge base for the company. Export system are capable of accepting basically a small amount of data, and they are generating a bulk amount of data, and their judgment is just like a judgment of a human being. Knowledge repository is the collection of different knowledge bases. Group discussion and support system, they help in bringing about the improvement in the interpersonal skills. So computer supported cooperative work is a kind of explicit knowledge base which has a direct exchange of information with that of the implicit knowledge, that is the unspoken knowledge, that is held by the individual, by the institutions, by the groups. So ultimately this entire scenario is responsible for the process of socialization of the knowledge, right? When we talk about the knowledge management, so knowledge management is basically called as an organized information. And organized information in the form of a systematic process of knowledge management, which involves the dissemination of information or distribution of the information. We have, before distributing any sort of information, we have to select the knowledge base. We have to deploy the knowledge, and before this we have to create the unique value. So all these things are basically comes under the knowledge management system, that create the knowledge, organize the knowledge, make a systematic process of the knowledge management, disseminate the knowledge or information, select appropriate knowledge, deploy knowledge, and in this way they all dimension keep on circulating with respect to each other, right? Now effective knowledge management basically is what? In what sense you will say that this is an effective knowledge management? So basically effective knowledge management is a collective effort of different dimensions. Like effective knowledge management system takes the input from developing a working definition of the knowledge. To make any knowledge to be effective, we have to define the working of the knowledge first, that where it is going to be utilized. We have to deal with the unspoken knowledge and utilization of the IT. We have to develop the adaptation to the culture complexity. Means before using any knowledge or making any knowledge to be effective, you need to understand the culture and complexity of that thing, so that it can be adapted very easily. And attention to human resources, because knowledge management is the ultimate thing to be used by the people, for the people, to the people. So for making the knowledge base to be very effective, you must focus on to the attention to the human resources. Next one is developing new organizational structures, because Knowledge base has given a new scenario, so you need to develop the new organizational structures. Coping with increased competition. Knowledge base is, if your knowledge base is capable to cope up with increased competition, then this sort of knowledge base is called as an effective knowledge management system. Right? Now let us talk about that how to use knowledge. When we talk about that how to use knowledge, this includes that firstly create the knowledge, then embed the knowledge. Embedding further give rise to distribution of the knowledge by managing different parameters. Then we have to use the knowledge on the area where it is required. But usage requires the monitoring, right? So all this process of creating, embedding, distributing, using, they keep on going one after another, keeping in view of monitoring and managing in mind. So when you are going to use any knowledge, you have to focus on to the managing and monitoring part of it, because this ultimately is able to materialize the whole scenario or thing. Now let us discuss about the knowledge use. According to the scientific and social paradigm, a knowledge is to be constructed first. Then after constructed, it should be disseminated across the organization. It should be managed. It should be go to the proper usage, so that business benefits and employee satisfaction can be calculated. And then we need to focus on to the knowledge embodiments. So these scientific and social paradigm are basically responsible for the transmission of one sort of knowledge into the another sort of knowledge, sometime in the form of construction, sometime in the form of dissemination, sometime in the form of usage, and sometime even in the form of embodiments. Right? Let us talk about the levels of knowledge. Levels of knowledge means the knowledge can be in the form at the level of operation, at the level of tactical, that is the unspoken one, in which you can add, you can learn, you can use, you can get some sort of data. And when we talk about the operational, it means you have to draft the things, you have to basically apply the things, you have to review different parameters, distribute the things, arrange for the things, and all these. Now let us talk about the strategic levels of knowledge. When we talk about the strategic level of knowledge, it means which includes the divert, access, and build of the knowledge. So at highest level, strategic level is the highest level, tactical is the middle level, and operational is the lowest level. Now let us talk about the knowledge capture. When we talk about the knowledge capture, it means what basically? It means strategy, measurement, policies, contents, process, technologies, culture. And all these things are being taken care by the people, by the knowledge assets. Because people to people leads to the exchange of knowledge. And when there is an exchange of knowledge, then knowledge assets and people get connected with each other with the help of knowledge internalization or knowledge capture. So knowledge assets are reused again and again by means of people. So there should be a close proximity between the people and the knowledge assets, so that the captured knowledge can be disseminated, can be distributed across different parts of the organization, across different areas of the organization, across different state, nation of the organization. Right? Knowledge process. Knowledge process is basically a very chaotic knowledge process because it involves the human knowledge and networking. And when we talk about the human knowledge, it involves the exchange of information which is stored inside the databases. And when we talk about the networking, it involves the technical networking. So there must be proper systematic information and knowledge process between the human knowledge and networking and information databases and technical networking, because ultimately this gives rise to the knowledge process, right? Now, can you think about the building blocks of knowledge management? Yes, there are different building blocks of knowledge management, that is enablers, levers and foundations. Enablers are the leadership parameters which give rise to the structure, culture, HR policies and proper vision. They all comes under the enabler part. Levers, the problematic areas, they comes under levers we focus the processes, people, measurement, information and space, right? So ultimately hard infrastructure, intranet groupware, soft skills learning and tools and techniques, they all collectively give rise to the our foundations of knowledge management, right? Now information technology is having a proper intentions behind it. If you are going to develop the information system for any company, then information system is supposed to be totally based onto the knowledge base, and that knowledge base is capable of fulfilling the purpose, the core values of that organization, the mission of that organization, the management information system, finance and accounting, human resources. See, all these parameters collectively forms the entire information system of that organization. So when you are going to develop any kind of information system, you must focus on to these important parameters which revolves around the information system, that is purpose, core values, mission, management information science or system, finance and accounting and human resources, right? So before we end this session, the last two questions are that what are said to be the building blocks of knowledge management. You need to write 10 points for the same. Then you have to write that how to capture the knowledge, right? You have to write the 10 points for the same. With this we are going to finish this session. Thank you.